I don't know anything about George Soros. Do you know anything about George Soros?
Not really.
So if you click on his Wikipedia that anybody could edit, the very first thing that comes up when you Google George Soros, not me, is that Open Society, which I think is his. Is it not his foundation? Isn't that what Open Societies is? Yeah. So the Open Societies Foundation, but I was under the impression that Soros was some sort of survived the Nazi-occupied Hungary and moved to the United Kingdom, 1947.
I've never heard he was a Nazi sympathizer.
That's what the first thing on your deal said.
His extensive funding of political causes has made him a bugaboo of European nationalists. The New York Times reported that conspiracy theories about him have gone mainstream to nearly every corner of the Republican Party. Numerous American conservatives have promoted false claims that characterize Soros as a singularly dangerous puppet master behind many alleged global plots. Conspiracy theories targeting Soros, who is of Jewish descent, have often been described as anti-Semitic. That's basically what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but what they're saying is because he is of Jewish descent and people don't like him that they don't like Jews, which I don't think is true because, well, I mean, the guy is a billionaire, right? So you don't like billionaires, correct?
Correct.
So you don't like this guy because he's a billionaire?
Correct.
Does that have anything to do with him being a Jew?
No, but I don't subscribe to these conspiracy theories.
You don't have to subscribe to...
Right, but you're just taking one small thing.
I'm taking one small thing, but I don't have to subscribe to his...
These people who have the conspiracies don't like him because he's a billionaire.
No,
that's not the...
No, they don't like him because of his Open Societies Foundation. If you go back to the very top deal, the very top thing, the conspiracy theories all revolve around that, the Open Society Foundation, which whether or not you can look into it or not, I don't know anything about it. I know nothing about it, but $15 billion has been distributing, representing 64% of his original fortune. That is why they don't like him.
Yeah, so that's super valid. I agree. But just like at Cowboy Stadium when we were talking about anti-Semitic tropes, and
I'm not. That doesn't have anything to do with him being a Jew. You not liking billionaires. He's a billionaire, so you don't like him because he's a billionaire. It doesn't make you an anti-Semitist. Just like people liking him, not liking him because he gave $15 billion to political opposition. And I think all of that is public record. Now, as far as what his motives are, nobody knows what his motives is because he hasn't said what his motives are.
There you go. So, yes, of course, I agree with you that it's not anti-Semitic to dislike billionaires or anything like that. When you go farther into the conspiracies, that's where the anti-Semitism
Do you know how he made his money, though? Do you know how he made his money?
I don't. I've heard about the conspircy theory. I've never looked into it. I don't know anything about it. I don't know anything about him.
Yeah, but George Soros,
finance,
conspiracy theories or whatever you can call them conspiracy theories. They don't like where he puts his money. They don't like it's like money in politics, right? They don't like the candidates that he supports. They don't like the platforms that they stand for, and I think it's all. I think he's donated $15 billion financing different political different politicians. They don't like that. I don't really care about it. Doesn't matter to me. But he made his money trading Forex. So do you know what trading Forex is? Like it really is. As far as what I would. Conspiracy theory, if we're going to start one, I would guess most of his political nonsense is so he can make more money trading currencies.
That makes sense.
Like, I mean, if you're buying politicians and you make money trading currencies,
you might have
anyone
else insight on what the dollar is going to do.
Yeah, you might need to know exactly how this stuff's going to play out. So, being a puppet master with $32 billion seems highly unlikely because $32 billion just ain't that much money.
It's the brain broken, brain rot limitedness of people who cannot just accept that this level of wealth, or what they actually don't like is billionaires, because they've been fed that they want to be billionaires, so they have to attribute it to aliens or Jews coming from a different yeah, that's what the conspiracy theories come down to. Is
But do you realize that nobody, do you know what he's talking about?
I don't.
I don't know. I have no idea what you're talking about. And I hang out in very conservative circles. I've never heard any of them mention any of this stuff. The George Soros stuff that you see on Fox News and you see on any form of social media or anything like that has to do with the Open whatever foundation it is donating money to different political people that then do things that don't make a lot of sense. It just doesn't make a lot of fucking sense. Like if his foundation, and they figured it out. I mean, I knew this a long time ago. I lived in a county in Texas, and I'm not going to mention the county, but the guy that ran that county was worth about $33 million. And they talk about it, and they say, okay, well, big fish, small pond. Eventually, the big fish eats all the bait fish, and they don't have any food, and he dies. And that really is the big fish, small pond theory. Well, a county, like if you want to talk about running something, if you're in a county in Texas, if you're in a county, Loving County's a great example. What has it got? 80 people that live there? Okay. How much money does it take to run the county in Loving County if there's only 80 people?
Probably not a whole bunch.
It don't take a bunch of money. But there's one dude out there. If you go Google Loving County, there's a dude out there that murders people, gets away with it, and everything else. He's got a bunch of stank around him because he runs that county. He gets to do whatever he wants. Why does he get to do whatever he wants in Loving County?
Just get that power.
But why?
There's no one else to come in and take it out?
No, because the simple way that the justice system is set up is very, 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 very simple. The DA, the district attorney in that county, not only gets to choose who he prosecutes, okay? So the DA chooses, they present a case, they come to him and they say, hey, we got this case. You can prosecute this case right now. And he says, well, I don't really think there's enough evidence to convict, so I don't want to prosecute the case. What happens to it?
I don't know.
It gets kicked to a grand jury. What's the grand jury?
Besides what happens to him?
Who picks the grand jury?
The lawyers?
Look it up. Just look at it.
The people in that county of 80 are going to be on that grand jury.
Who picks the grand jury? Who picks the grand jury in a county? So the DA has declined to prosecute. You don't think there's enough evidence to get a conviction. The police did all the police work they could do. They have great evidence, but he says, nope, I don't think I can get a conviction. I'm not going to prosecute. It goes to a grand jury. Who picks the grand jury?
I don't know.
Go look it up. Okay? Now, the grand jury then says, nope, we're going to no-bill this guy. What happens then? Who can bring charges from there?
I don't know. No one? Because for the same crime?
They can. Somebody can bring those charges.
If there's new evidence or something?
Nope, no, same evidence. But they will not get to present that to...
So the judge picks the grand jury?
Which judge?
Judge the county?
A grand jury consists of 12 Tarrant County citizens selected by a district judge. Who's the district judge? How is the district judge? What is a district judge in Texas?
I don't know how many. They're over a couple counties?
They can be. In the smaller counties, they can be.
They're slightly bigger than a county judge.
Yeah, but how do they get picked?
They're elected?
They're elected. Okay? So, you got a district judge, you got a DA, and you got a grand jury. Okay? What do you need to control the county?
The judge?
The DA and the judge. If you've got the district judge and the DA, and they say they no-bill you, the only way you can get it to a higher level is if the state decides to pick up the charges. The state attorneys, right? Now, if it's a federal crime, the federal, but that's even another layer up. So it doesn't take much. Now, in a bigger county like Dallas County, there's going to be The city's going to have their own prosecuting attorney and DA and all that. And then there's going to be the county DA. You got different layers, right? But in a small county, you can control it just by controlling the DA and the judge. If you get those two people elected, you don't have to do anything else. Like, you don't have to control the state. You can spend a little bit of money in these elections, to get these people elected. Who's running for district judge? Well, you moved out of Limestone County, but you could probably name at least one person that's running for an office in Limestone County or someplace else just by driving by the signs on the road. Mm-hmm. Can you? Do you think you can?
No.
Well, you don't read the signs on the side of the road, but Amy, I don't even know her last name, but she's top of mind recognition. I recognize her. She's on my top of mind. She won the runoff, I believe, and she had all of her signs everywhere. She probably bought $30,000 worth of signs, $15,000 worth of labor, $45,000. She sewed up a district judge. It's Amy, and it's in Limestone County. Anyways, doesn't matter. For $45,000, she sewed up the district judge nomination in a Republican county. Amy Ward, there she is. And now she's going to be in the main election, and I think they cover 3 counties there. But think about how little money that is to a billionaire, and why would a billionaire
not pay that?
Well, give a damn about a district judge race in rural parts of the country. So all they're saying with Soros and the conspiracy theory is, why does he care about these small popcorn elections? Well, it's very clear why he cares about these small popcorn elections.
It's a drop in the bucket.
It's a drop in the bucket, and you get control, whatever. You now influence how that county is going to be governed. Whether you agree with it or disagree with it is irrelevant. It's easy to control.
Well, yeah, right or wrong aside, like it's smart and it's easy to do, it seems like, if you have that sort of money.
So that's where the criticism comes from. It's not because he's donating to congressmen or any of that. It's because he's wading into these tiny little elections that it doesn't take a lot of money. I mean, if you give somebody $1 million campaign budget in a small election like that, I mean, they can dominate. They can cover the airwaves. They'll be on the top of mind of everybody out there.
Let's control a county.
Do what?
Let's do this.
Put
away a fund.
But there's no, like, what do you win?
Hale County, maybe.
But what do you win though?
I don't know. It's fun.
I think part of that is you have to have some motive. You have to want something from it, surely, if you're willing to do it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what's the gain? You want to build something. You want to do something. You want to just drive 150 miles an hour everywhere you go or something.
Yeah, there's
got to be some gain.
That's the small person. So what's the motive of a billionaire that lives in a different country?
Who knows?
Exactly. So that's where the conspiracy theories come in. They're opining about why he's involved in these small elections. It's not that he's not involved in these small elections. He is 100% involved in these small elections. And I'm not, it's like the conspiracy theory comes into, why would somebody care about that? Well, to me, if I'm trading Forex and I can cause, if the candidates that I support, are for cashless bail and all this nonsense, just complete and utter nonsense, that no matter which side of the aisle you can look at the stats and be like, I don't know if this is working out, right? I don't think this is good policy if I allow people to rob a Walgreens every day and they don't have to go to jail. Eventually, there's not going to be a Walgreens in that neighborhood. That's just life. It could be a convenience store. It could be a grocery store. So you end up with food deserts. You end up with all of this nonsense because there is no inverse reaction. There's no consequences for these actions. There's no downside to doing these crimes. I mean, you just had it in Dallas County. What'd they say? They're not going to prosecute $750 worth of theft is now legal in Dallas County. Well, that's fucking crazy. It's crazy to me that somebody could walk up to Braxton, jaw jack him, take $750, and the insult and the robbery are of no consequence to the person who does it. I mean, how much money could you make in a day?
Pretty good living, $750 a day.
Like, if you all you had to do is just knock people out and take their wallet, like, and there's no consequence. Like, if you're the baddest dude on the block, you just won. You just hit the lottery. You now got a license to steal without consequence. The police know, they then know, there's no point in arresting this person because the county attorney isn't going to enforce the law, right? The legislators or the city council or whoever writes the municipal laws, I think it's city council, they write the laws, they put them in place, and the people that are in charge of enforcing them do selective enforcing. It doesn't matter anymore. It's all over with. Like, it just breaks down. It just becomes a hierarchy of who the baddest motherfucker is. And that's never a good place to live. I promise you. If whoever the baddest motherfucker is gets to pick the rules about how this is, what's right and what's wrong, you're not going to like those situations, right? That's what got Putin in power. Putin just happens to be the baddest motherfucker over there for his peer group at the time. And now he has the power and the henchmen that will hit your off button if you disagree with him. Does anybody here want to trade places and go live in Russia? You know what I mean? Like, do you want to, Braxton? You want to go over to Russia?
I don't.
That's what happens when you don't have a justice system that applies the laws. Now, it's happening on every level. I mean, you got marijuana, the federal government not enforcing marijuana laws in certain states. If it is a states' right issue, the federal government should have the balls to make it a states' right issue, to pass a law that says, hey, this is state by state now, enjoy yourselves. You know what I mean? Rather than just choosing not to enforce laws in Colorado and, it's probably a majority of states now.
Several, yeah. I can't think of all of them.
What did you see?
Well, yeah, but now how are you going to go enforce any other law? Like, you're not going to enforce these laws.
It's a slippery slope. It's like, well, if you're not going to enforce that, then what,
Like, why are you enforcing laws or hate crime laws or tax laws or what else does the federal government control? They don't dive into much. I mean, I guess kidnapping is always a federal issue because they can cross state lines. Bank robberies. They don't enforce a lot of laws federally. It's not like they have a police force out here.
Finance laws.
I mean, how are you going to enforce any of those laws? Just look at it and go, well, you're getting me for insider trading or whatever it is. But the guy right next to me has made $10 million selling weed this year, and you're not going to go get him. You know what I mean? Like, he made his money illegally too. Like, why is mine bad and his good? It's a weird thing. You get what I mean? Like, it's just weird. It's just weird. I don't know. But yeah, as far as conspiracy theories with George Soros, I don't know what's correct and not correct. I don't think disliking George Soros, since I didn't know he was Jewish till just now, and the only thing I ever heard about him was that he somehow was tied to the Nazis, and that's probably a conspiracy theory right there. I hadn't heard anything else about him. I mean, can we read whatever that conspiracy theory is about him in Nazi Germany and how he survived it? There's another guy that I do like that survived a concentration camp, but I can't remember his name. He's a big developer. George Soros has been...
Yeah, so following a 98 60 Minutes interview in which Soros related his experiences when at age 13, Nazis occupied his native Hungary, right-wing figures such as all these dudes promulgated the false conspiracy theory, which has been described as anti-Semitic, that Soros was a Nazi collaborator who turned in other Jews and stole their property during the occupation.
Yeah, nobody...
So that's that one.
I mean, we could go watch the 60-minute interview and decide for ourselves. I don't have to take Glenn Beck or any of these people's words for what happened there. You know what I mean? I don't consume any of their content anyways. You know, the news is always an interesting place, and as long as they source their material, it's pretty easy to find and pretty easy to form your own opinion.